Shalom. My name is Moreh Ishiyah Yisrael from the House of Israel in Cincinnati, Ohio, 2330 Kemper Lane, bringing to you in 40 minutes or less. In 40 minutes or less, I will prove beyond a shadow of a doubt the word of Yahweh. Who is this Yahweh? Yahweh is the creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein. Yahweh is the Elohim of our fathers, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yisrael, whom you may know as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yahweh is our judge. Yahweh is our lawgiver. Yahweh is our king, who will save us. In this lesson, lesson 15, we will deal with various months that are in the Holy Scriptures, months that shouldn't even be there. And we're going to explore in this lesson 15 foreign influence or Hebrew months. There's 6 different months in the scriptures, and I will tell you these months by name. The first one is the month of Nisan, which, according to the scriptures, is the first month. The second month in the scriptures is called the month of Ziph. There's no name for the third month, for the fourth month, for the fifth month, for the sixth month. But then they will throw another month in called Etanim, which is supposed to be the 7th month. And then the 8th month, you will find, is called Bull. Then they have a 9th month that's called Kislev. And then no 10th month, no 11th month, and then they will throw a 12th month in that's called Adar. And you have to ask yourself, why these 6 months? Why come there's no names for the other Hebrew months? Do these names actually supposed to be here? Or are these months foreign influence or really legitimately Hebrew months? We will prove that, of course, in 40 minutes or less. The first place that I would like you to explore in this lesson 15 is in the book of Esther, the 3rd chapter. Now, why is Esther, the 3rd chapter, so important? Because anybody who studied the scriptures, they will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the book of Esther was during the time of our captivity. And this is what you're going to find with a lot of these months. This is how you know they're foreign influence. Watch this in the book of Esther, the 3rd chapter, the 7th verse. This is what it says. In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast Pur, that is the lot, before Haman from day to day and from month to month to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. See, anytime you got to identify the months that you're speaking about, in other words, it has a name, then you got to let people know, oh, that's the first month, or that's the 12th month. That's totally foreign because Yahweh know when all the months are. And his people know when all the months are. But foreign months, you got to say, well, January, that's the first month. July, that's the 6th month or the 7th month. You have to say that, or else you wouldn't even know. And this is no different in the scriptures. And what we're talking about in this lesson are these months influenced by foreigners, by the heathens, by our enemies, or really are they Hebrew months? And as we can see, 2 of these months right off the gate are foreign influence. In other words, they were inserted much later by foreigners. Furthermore, number 2, let me show you one more scripture on that. The book of Zechariah. Let us turn there. Zechariah, the 7th chapter. Another prophet that spoke in captivity. And you're going to see spoke in captivity. And watch what it says in the very first verse. And it came to pass in the 4th year of King Darius. And who was Darius? A foreign king, king of Babylon, that the word of Yahweh came unto Zechariah the 4th day of the 9th month, even in Kislev. What the heck is Kislev? Well, they're saying it's the 9th month, which lets you know this Kislev is foreign influence. We had no months named that. And I'm going to prove that. So we already see the month of Nisan, the month of Kislev, as well as the month of Adar, all spoken of in captivity. But number 2, in the book of 1 Kings, the 6th chapter, and our people like to go to this scripture to try to prove that the month and the moon are synonymous with one another. And they're not synonymous at all. And we will bring you a lesson to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the month and the moon is not synonymous with one another. As a matter of fact, the month and the moon don't even start at the same time. The month starts in the morning and the moon come at night. That in of itself will let you know they're not synonymous with one another. But watch this. In 1 Kings, the 6th chapter, the very first verse, to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, once again, that these months came much later. Watch what it says. 1 Kings, the 6th chapter, the first verse, and it came to pass in the 480th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt. In the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month Ziph, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of Yahweh. And somebody said, man, this is during the time of Solomon. This is when he was reigning in his 4th year. But look, I'm going to prove Solomon didn't insert this month called Ziph. Further, the first thing you should be recognizing about this particular scripture, this was 480 years after the children of Israel came out of Egypt. And our people been had a calendar. They got their calendar in the 1st year coming out of Egypt, let alone 480 years later. And you won't read about no month called Ziph nowhere in the law. But then you read about this Ziph 480 years later. Now, ask yourself, do that make sense? And then in this same 1 Kings, the 6th chapter, watch what it says. Another month that he's speaking of. In the 38th verse, this is what it says. And in the 11th year, in the month Bull, which is the 8th month, was the house finished throughout all the parts thereof, and according to all the fashion of it, so was he 7 years in building. We hear this is a Babylonian month. There's no months we call Bull, and there's no months we call Ziph. Not even 480 years later. Now, it does say 480 years later, but this was not during the time of Solomon. These was inserted even much later than that. And we had no months, as I stated before, that we had to tell people, oh, this is the 2nd month. Oh, this is the 8th month. The 8th month was the 8th month. The 2nd month was the 2nd month, all through the scriptures, except when there was foreign influence. Number 3, and to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, what I'm telling you is the truth. If you go to the book of Exodus, and let me just show you one more thing before we go to Exodus. In the book of 1 Kings, the 8th chapter, because I don't want to skip no areas. And watch what it says in the book of 1 Kings, the 8th chapter. Because we talked about the 2nd month, which is supposedly called Ziph. We talked about the 8th month that supposedly is called Bull during the time of Solomon. And then they also would insert this other month supposedly at the time of Solomon. And this is what it says in 1 Kings, the 8th chapter, the 2nd verse. And all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto King Solomon at the feast in the month of Etanim, which is the 7th month. We had no months that we had to tell people when it was. And that's what I want you to see now. The identity of our months. Watch this in the book of Exodus 13. Now, this is the law. Exodus 13. And watch what this is. We're talking about these 6 months that you will find in the scriptures. Only 6 of them. Are they foreign influence or are they Hebrew months? And we're proving these ain't Hebrew months at all. In the book of Exodus 13, watch what it says in the very 4th verse. This day came ye out in the month Abib. It didn't say it was the 1st month, the 2nd month, the 3rd month, the 12th month, the 8th month, the 9th month. It didn't say what month this was, other than the fact that we came out of Egypt in the month of Abib. And all Hebrews, all the children of Israel, knew what month we came out of Egypt. It was the month of Abib. And not one time did it tell you Abib, the 1st month. Nowhere in the scriptures where you will read this thing, because we already know what the month of Abib is. It's the 1st month. It's the 1st month naturally. It's the 1st month agriculturally. It's the 1st month in every sense of the word. And who gave us that month? Who told us that month? Yahweh. Now are we to believe that this month is all of a sudden called Nisan? No, this is a trick by your enemies. And don't fall for the trick. Furthermore, in the book of Deuteronomy 16, let us turn there. Deuteronomy 16. And this is the law. The very first verse. This is what it says. Observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover unto Yah Elohim. For in the month of Abib, Yahweh Elohim brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. Abib is always connected with when we were brought out of Egypt. And it never, ever was identified as the first month because we knew it was the first month. We knew it was the beginning of months. We knew that it was the first month of the year. And how? Because Yahweh orchestrated this and not man. The fourth thing is in the book of First Chronicles, the 27th chapter. Let us turn there. First Chronicles 27. Another witness to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that these months, these 6 months, were foreign influence and not Hebrew months at all. In the book of First Chronicles 27, the very first verse says this. Now the children of Israel, after their number, to wit, the chief fathers, captains of thousands and hundreds, their officers that served the king in any matter of the courses, which came in and went out, month by month, throughout all the months of the year, of every course, were 24,000. And when this was set up, when this was spoken about, according to the scriptures, every month was according to the number of the children of Israel. They wasn't according to some false names that the foreigners came up with, inserted into the Bible, the scriptures. No. And who did this? Who wrote this? Who said this? King David. And surely King David knew the months. And why didn't he insert these 6 months into First Chronicles, the 27th chapter? He didn't. And he named all 12 months. And all 12 months was according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And not just King David. His son did the same thing. That's how you know they lied on King Solomon, which is number 5. The fifth witness that these months are foreign influence and not Hebrew months. This is what it says in 1 Kings, the 4th chapter. In the book of 1 Kings, the 4th chapter, this is what it says in the 7th verse. And Solomon had 12 officers over all Israel, not 13, but 12, which provided victuals for the king and his household. Each man his month in a year made provisions. And he named all the officers that was over all 12 months. And they would just name the month. This is the first month. This is the second month. This is the third month. This is the fourth month. And they didn't have these funny names that we see inserted into the scriptures. The sixth thing, the sixth witness to let you know that these were foreign influence. In the book of First Kings, the 11th chapter, since we're in First Kings, even if one say, well, no, these was during the time of King Solomon, you just got to accept it. Well, no, I don't have to accept that just because you see it in the book of Kings. I know that these were inserted. All you have to do is a history search, and you will see that these months was inserted way after Solomon. But even if you believe they came during the time of Solomon, watch what the Almighty said. King Solomon himself did. And I'm saying that King Solomon never talked about these months. But if you believe he did, this is what the Creator said. In the book of First Kings, the 11th chapter, the very first verse. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and the Hittites, of the nations which Yahweh said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you. For surely they will turn away your heart after their Elohim. And Solomon clave unto these in love. He had several hundred wives, princes, 300 concubines. His wife turned away his heart. For it came to pass when Solomon was old, that his wife turned away his heart after their other Elohim. And his heart was not perfect with Yahweh his Elohim, as was the heart of David, his father. For Solomon went after the deity of the Zidonians, the abomination of the Ammonites. And Solomon did evil in the sight of Yahweh, and went not fully after Yahweh, as did David, his father. Then Solomon built high places for the deity and abomination of Moab, and a hill that is before Jerusalem, and a deity, the abomination of the children of Ammon. And likewise did he for all his strange wives, which he burned incense and sacrificed unto their idols. In other words, even if you accept the fact that these months was surely talked about during the time of Solomon, nobody was more influenced by idol worship more than Solomon. For Solomon married many wives that took his heart away. And this was a downward spiral for the children of Israel. Furthermore, in the book of Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, let us turn there. Are these foreign influence? Or are these months Hebrew months? They're not Hebrew months at all. Here it is in the book of Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, the first two verses, or the first three verses. Hear ye the word of Yahweh, speaking unto you, O house of Israel. Thus says Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, because we're talking about the months. For the heathen are dismayed at them, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. In other words, this is nothing but vanity these months. Has nothing to do with Yahweh at all. but they got a lot to do with the foreigners, and they have a lot to do with people who will do wickedly and those who are dismayed at the signs of heaven. And the last scripture on this is in the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter. Let us turn there. Daniel, the 7th chapter. And this is what it says in the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter. And we're just going to read a couple verses. Daniel, the 7th chapter, starting at the 23rd verse. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, break it in pieces, and the 10 horns out of his kingdom, this kingdom, are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them. And he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given unto his hand until the time and times and the dividing of time. So even back during the time when Daniel was in captivity, he prophesied they would change times and laws. And what is a time? A month is a time. That's a time that was changed. And what is the law that's changed? That we must know our months. We don't even know how many days in a month today. And we got to go right back and return unto Yahweh to get not just the proper time, but to keep his law. Again, ask yourself, are these foreign influence, these months, or are they Hebrew months? So until our next lesson, Yahweh love you, and so do I. Shalom.